Greetings. Every one of us has someone that we know, probably a lot of someones that we know, that ends up having a problem. Sometimes it could even be clients. I'm an independent consultant. I have clients that sometimes have problems. One of those things that a lot of people do that's probably the wrong thing to do is they try to solve the problem without asking any questions. And whether it's personal or whether it's business, that's not a good way to go. Let's look at personal, for instance. I happened to mention to some people that I was having trouble sleeping. Well, a lot of people, almost all of them as a matter of fact, decided they were going to solve my problem first. Maybe you should go to bed earlier. Maybe you should take this kind of pill or whatever. Maybe you should take some CBD oil. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. Nobody asked me why I was having trouble sleeping. And the truth of the matter is, if you don't ask those kind of questions, then you don't know if the answers you're giving are the wrong answers or not. The same thing happens in business. I have, some knowledge in certain areas. And people may say, well, I've got this problem here, and it may ring in my mind and say, okay, I've had this before. However, I've also been at a whole bunch of different places that have had the same problem, but the fix that I've recommended didn't work for every hospital. So what I had to do first was ask some questions to see if this is the same problem I had before, or if it's actually a modification of that problem and it needs a different solution. That's really the only way that you can ever help anybody, is by asking questions. Now, I say that understanding that there are those few times where you can't do it. You may have difficulty with a child, trying to get a child to explain something to you, and they just can't. Or you might have trouble with a spouse who you're trying to get them to say something and they just won't. Or you may have trouble, like I have, with my mother, where we really can't talk anymore. So I can ask her what's wrong, but she's never going to be able to tell me. And in those cases, then you have to try to figure out something. At the same time, you have to try to solve those problems as soon as you can so that things don't escalate. Sometimes you're just stuck like that. But overall, it's usually better to try to ask questions to see if you're right or wrong. With a lot of personal stuff in my life, what I've always done is I want to listen. I will ask some questions, but I really just want to listen. I want to hear what's going on. And then instead of giving specific advice, I like to give options, because there's usually more than one way to solve something, even though it may not solve it the way you want it to be solved. And options is a good way to go, because then you're saying, okay, you could do this, I think this will happen, or you could do this, I think this will happen, or you can do this, I think this will happen. I usually try to give 3 because 3 is my lucky number. I'm not going to lie. I try to give 3 because 3 is my lucky number. And then let that person make the decision. Don't make decisions for other people unless you're getting paid to do it. That's a different standard. Anyway, that's what I got today. My name is Mitch Mitchell. If something like this helps you, please think about subscribing, and I'll get back to you later. Y'all take care.